pain on every family in Libya, and every family has the right then to have a say in terms of should he get out of jail free or should he be held accountable. And I think this is happening now in Libya. This dialogue is going on in Libya, and people are starting to talk about it.
Henry Schuller, based on your knowledge of the country and your close and intimate knowledge of the way influential Western capitals such as Washington operate, how do you see this ending? It's difficult to predict with every passing day, but it appears to be that the man, despite his idiosyncrasies, and I sat with him for a lengthy interview a year and a half ago, and back then as now, he has been saying that he has no position to step down from. This is Jamahiriya, it is people power. Do you feel that anything he said in the last couple of days suggests any kind of change in his rhetoric? Will he have to step down? What will it take?
No, I think all of that of not having any responsibility is errant nonsense. And I think that the most tragic situation that has developed is that the United States and Britain have allowed Musa Kusa. I have in my hands Musa Kusa's dissertation on the political leader and his social background, Muammar Gaddafi, the Libyan leader, and I've read it. It's not badly written, but it's very clear that Musa Kusa is a die-hard Gaddafi loyalist, and for some reason he has managed to peddle his credentials as somebody who the United States and Britain should deal with. And with a lot of smoke and mirrors, he has pretended that Libya is cooperating on terrorism, counterterrorism, because he knew all the terrorists in the world, and so he convinced the U.S. government back during the Bush administration that he would turn that information over. Well, surprise, surprise, he turned over all of Gaddafi's opposition, the names of his opposition, who had nothing whatsoever to do with Al-Qaeda.
Much more to discuss. Unfortunately, this is all the time we have on this edition. I want to thank all of my guests, Mansour El-Kikhia in Texas, Henry Schuller in Washington, and Ibrahim Jibril here in Doha. And thank you very much for joining us on this edition of Inside Story. As always, we welcome your suggestions and comments. You can email them to us at insidestory@aljazeera.net. From all of us for now, thanks for watching.
A debilitating condition afflicting millions of women across the developing world.
Sometimes it is not possible to cure a patient with fistula. We have to prepare her psychologically.
Revealing the human stories behind fistula and its intimate connection to poverty. A powerful new series exploring global maternal health. Birthrights, at this time on Al Jazeera.
On the next Riz Khan Show, is there rising Islamophobia in the US? We examine controversial hearings in Congress about the so-called radicalization of American Muslims. Riz Khan, at this time on Al Jazeera.
A new constitution within a year. Yemen's president promises to hold a referendum on the issue. I'm Anand Naidoo. You're watching Al Jazeera live from Doha. Also on the program, The fight for Libya. Gaddafi's forces bomb rebels from land and air. Russia imposes sanctions on weapons sales to Libya. And giving up his political role, the Dalai Lama says it's time for a replacement to step in. We begin in Yemen, where after weeks of protests calling for change, the president has just announced a transition to what he calls a parliamentary system. After 32 years in power, Ali Abdullah Saleh has also announced plans to form a new constitution that would devolve power to parliament. Our correspondent Hashim Ahalbara is on the line now from Sana'a with the latest. And Hashim, what do all these proposed changes mean?
It's a dramatic change if it takes place here in Yemen. Well, basically, Ali Abdullah Saleh has offered what could be described as his ultimate reform package. He's offering a transition to a parliamentary system. So for the first time in the history of Yemen, you have people going to the polls, electing a majority in the parliament, and that majority is the one which will elect a president. And this is something which never took place in the past in the Arab world. Number two, he's decentralizing a sense of political devolution, whereby power is going to be taken away from the government here in the capital, Sana'a, and given to provinces. People, for example, in Sada, in Aden, are going to have a bigger say in running their affairs. And this is something which, in theory, should diffuse tension, because people in the north, people in the south have been asking about a bigger say. Number three, the third element in his announcement is a reform, a major reform of the constitution to take place in summer, an interim government that will lay down the grounds for the whole reforms. Then it will be followed by elections. However, President Ali Abdullah Saleh insists that he's going to stay in power till 2013. When I spoke with the opposition about whether they are going to attend this gathering, which took place just about an hour ago, they said, no, it's too late. Ali Abdullah Saleh stands for an old regime. He has to go. He has to understand that all the reforms that he is trying to offer are too little, too late.
So that's just one of the points, Hashim. One of the main demands of the demonstrators is that he step down immediately, while he's been saying he'll only step down in 2013. So these latest reforms or proposed reforms that he's talking about, are they likely to satisfy those demonstrators?
The opposition definitely rejects the demand, and also the anti-government protesters. However, we do understand that now there's supposed to be behind closed door diplomacy, where the opposition, along with members of the ruling party, the government, the opposition representative from the anti-government movement, will try in a last-ditch effort to save Yemen from what could be a complete anarchy if everybody decides to take the law by their own hands. The anti-government protesters and the opposition still maintain the position that Ali Abdullah Saleh has